Hello and welcome to Global Business. I am Imewale Ohiomokai. It's good to have you sit back and watch us today. What do we have for you? We're going to be talking with Budgit. Of course, you may have been hearing about this people, Budgit, they're a civil society group, and they've been very involved in tracking the budget, federal government budgets, and even state budgets. In fact, they have a program they call the Tracker, isn't it? Anyway, we were looking at one particular state because you see there has been so much emphasis on federal government budgets. Nobody is putting on any emphasis on the state budgets. So we're looking at the state that has the highest budget in the federation right now. Of course, that state's budget is even more than Lagos budget. Yes, Cross River State. So we're going to be looking specifically at the Ayade Special Superhighway. How viable is that project? Budgit, they are crying foul about that project, even though Ayade, that's Governor Ayade, has been celebrating that project. So what is Budgit's claim? What do they see wrong about that project? We'll be talking with Tolutope Aguloye, who is the program manager for Budgit in Abuja, and he'll be telling us what they see. We'll also bring you Ayade's own version, because the Budgit has a video that specifies what they feel is wrong, and the governor himself responded. We'll also go to the communities in Cross River State that are going to be affected. In this 275-kilometer road, we hear about 185 communities are going to be affected. Well, you have a lot to watch out for on this edition of Global Business. Stay back. We'll be back after the break.
It's another World Cup year, and Nigerians are most likely wondering, will it be different this time, or will our hearts be broken again? Will our hearts be broken by football, just like it is by almost everything these days? Like when we read another article that refers to Nigeria as the sleeping giant of Africa, or that Facebook post that says that Nigeria has great economic potential, but that its potential simply remains potential. How many heartbreaks can we possibly bear? What if we attempt to start rewriting the Nigerian narrative? What if our economic potential could be harnessed to create a Nigeria with a thriving and growing middle class, with millions lifted out of poverty? It will be a huge task to rewrite the Nigerian narrative, but every story starts with one line. A million steps start with one. That is why we designed Yocha. Yocha is a mobile app that will help you understand the Nigerian stock market, analyze Nigerian stock market data, make informed investment decisions.
More debts for the state, as Cross River State has the fourth largest.
Oh, you're back.
Among the 36 states.
I was just watching this superhighway documentary, and I must say that those who produced it did a lot of homework. But the question is, did Governor Ben Ayade do his homework about that superhighway before he started embarking on it? Of course, you know that the Nigerian government has approved for him to go ahead with the 275-kilometer highway. So what's the problem with Budgit? I'm sure the Nigerian government also knew that Governor Ayade did his homework before he applied for that. Maybe someone's homework didn't really gel, like they will say in Nigeria. Maybe someone's homework wasn't well done. Anyway, is it Budgit? Is it Governor Ayade? Or is it the Cross River State government? We shall get to find out on this program. Now, let's take a look at that video. Allow you to see that video yourself. I mean, this video that I'm watching. So, watch it.
Did you know that Governor Ben Ayade is proposing a 275-kilometer Cross River Superhighway with Wi-Fi? Yes, you heard it right, with Wi-Fi. The proposed digital road will have 8 lanes each, and the plan is to link Cross River to Benue State. The superhighway is meant to take goods from the non-functional Calabar seaport to the north and other countries. There is obviously no cost for seaport in the plan, and this actually falls under the federal government's responsibilities. Cross River State initially claimed the road project will cost 800 billion naira, but it has been mysteriously cut to 200 billion naira, even though the length of the road has increased by 15 kilometers. Here are some disadvantages of the superhighway project. It would have a negative impact on the biodiversity of the last existing tropical rainforest in Nigeria. Lots of Cross River indigents will be rendered homeless as the highway tends to pass through 185 communities. More deaths for the state, as Cross River State has the 4th largest external debt among the 36 states in Nigeria, put at $115 million. If the superhighway is tolled, even at the expensive toll rate of 1,000 naira per car and 5,000 naira per truck, it will take over 100 years to pay back the cost of construction and compensation of land and farm owners. Instead of spending such a huge sum on a project that will put the state in huge debt, here are some alternative projects which would be more economically beneficial to Cross River State. 1. Cross River State government can invest a portion of the money in ecotourism, thus creating synergy between the unique forest wealth and tourism that Cross River State is known for. 2. The state could invest in 72 renewable energy agricultural processing hubs spread across its 18 local government areas to support economic development, especially in the rural areas. 3. With 700 million naira, Cross River State can complete the Tinapa Knowledge City, the 10,000 square feet hub which would power IT startups, incubators and training hubs. 4. With 50 billion naira, Cross River State can empower more than 10,000 SMEs with 5 million naira each. It is worthy to note that there are 2 existing roads that link Cross River State to Benue State. The federal government has already appropriated funds for renovating portions of the existing highways through the Federal Ministry of Works and the NDDC as captured in the 2017 budget. This means that there might not be need for another highway but to fix the existing ones. Why will Cross River State fund a project that has a poor environmental and economic plan? Join us and ask questions. The next generation that will bear this burden of debt needs you and I. Write a letter to a legislator at the federal and state government to join the campaign #StopTheSuperhighway and #Fix the existing ones.
One of the claims in the video you have just seen is that 185 communities are to be rendered homeless because they are the ones that are affected by this whole deforestation as claimed by Budgit, and the ones for the clearing of the road for the superhighway, the first Nigerian Wi-Fi highway. Well, we went to those communities, at least some of them. Our correspondent Rashid went to those communities, and here is what they had to say. This is Ekuri community, one of the most prominent communities that will be affected by the superhighway. Here are sights from this community. Now hear what the people have to say about the superhighway.
Already we have been talking about that issue of superhighway. We don't want that superhighway for now, but all what we want from government is for them to come and complete this uncompleted project. That is our problem for now. because we know that it is not possible that the present governor will come and construct this superhighway. Already is not planted there, or that office is not an heredity. You understand? So we believe that it cannot come easily to us. So the little one that we have started, let the government come and complete the project. Major thing, most paramount one, we want the state government to complete this road project to us. 2, we need facilities like pipe water, hospital, education aspect that we have started.
We wanted supervisory, but yet it's still in problem. The problem is that once you take through the national park and so on, and then the forest here is owned by the community and the national park. We have not, there's no accessible roads. We have the school, nothing, and we have not a town hall, not so many and a lot, and to say and to prove. Nothing like that. The most important, even our women, our men, people, our youth are suffering here and there because of no way we can take our goods down to the highway.
No, we have not seen this since ever. We have been heard that they want to do compensation, but since ever we have not seen any. Yes, of course, we are against superhighway because a lot of our crops are there. They have not doing whether AIT like that to come and do compensation before they do the road. So we are not against the superhighway, but we are not in support of the superhighway because we are afraid that when they come, look at the forest, they might take our belongings to their side.
Well, you have heard them. You are the judge of this. No matter what anyone says, it's what you see that actually matters. We even talked to Governor Ben Ayade to ask his opinion about this whole scenario. And this is what he had to say.
I'm a system purifier, a philosopher, if you like. When you have the right vision, the provision will come. God has said that in the Bible. You want to develop a nation, develop the infrastructure. Start with the roads and the ports. Every other thing will find its way. EIA for the superhighway was registered before I was sworn in as governor. Because the EIA law is very clear that before you initiate a project that has a major consequence on the environment, you have to carry out an environmental impact assessment. When you carry out this impact assessment, once the baseline data has been gathered, which must be for wet season and dry season, once you've gathered the data, you can move to field and apply for a provisional license. I was sworn in May 29th. Before that May 29th, I had started work on the EIA. What was the reason? The reason was that I wanted to make sure that I capture the peak of the rainy season, because rainy season starts April. Here it stretches even up to October. So I made sure that I captured the rainy season of the months that I was sowing. So I started the EIA somewhere in April. So by the time I was done with the dry season sampling, which was November, December, I moved to the field. So 6 months, 8 months from when I was sworn in as governor, I had finished the design, the preliminary design of the superhighway, and I finished clearing the route from the beginning of Bakassi to the end. Today we've completed the detailed design, world-class design. To do the debushing, we've opened the route. So the earthworks will start. Then political issues. People start going to court. Unknown to Ministry of Environment, that going to court to stop the construction of the superhighway was such an unholy thing to do, because our laws have never made provision for stoppage of work. We went to court and slowed down this work. So you're asking me, where is it now? The design is completed, the route survey completed, and the earthwork, opening it up from beginning to the end, completed. All those people who fall within that flags to be compensated have been gazetted, booked down. The EIA approval has now been formally granted. and were returning to the field to start work. Amidst over 80 international petitions against the superhighway, which were predominantly political. Extreme falsehood that the construction of the superhighway will devalue the environment. Unfortunately, it is my field. Unfortunately, also, it is the field of the deputy governor. It is our specialty. He's a soil scientist, I'm an environmental scientist. So that combination is too hot for you to take cheap lies. But we dismiss it because we know it's political. Every action of man has a potential impact. And the EIA is to develop the remedial strategy to mitigate that impact. That's the philosophy. And it comes under the section called EMP, Environmental Management Plan. So, okay, you want to build this road. So there are going to be some wildlife that will be affected. So during construction phase, you start by clicking noise. Give them small sound of your machine. Let them feel the sound and know that there is somebody coming. They will move to a safer place. They go a little further off your road. If there are some crossings that they are naturally supposed to go, your superhighway must create some underground connection so that the animals can go through under if you're going to cut the forest into two. So that they have the option, those who cannot stand the sound, to go under. There is nowhere in the world they say you cannot do this. An engineering challenge cannot constitute a moral barrier. It is failure of the intellect again that you run into such escapist explanation. There is nothing on earth that does not migrate.
They are a civil society group that are very involved in how you spend the money, not only federal government money, but even state money. And that's why we're talking about Cross River State today. And you were talking about how many people in those farmlands, especially, and even the video talked about the fact that this may be the last tropical rainforest, the negative impact on the biodiversity of the last tropical rainforest in Nigeria. And while you were speaking, you mentioned the fact that some people say, though not confirmed, that maybe the governor is interested in the rainforest. Is he interested in, destroying his own state or destroying his own rainforest? What is his interest there from what you have heard?
I wouldn't know the governor's interest. Like I said earlier, I said some of the assumptions we've had is because of the trees that are in the rainforest. And I also said there were conditions that were listed that the governor did not meet. So there are 23 conditions that the governor did not meet. So there was a stop order from the federal government that they should stop the proceeding because there were environmental impact assessment that was done. And the governor failed to meet 23 conditions listed there. So which means the federal government is saying don't continue this project. Yet the governor still went ahead with the project. So his interest, I wouldn't know. But if his goal is to provide alternative routes linking these two states together, then the governor should still go back and fix the existing roads that are there. Not one, we have two. Why make the third one? Now the governor says it is a public-private partnership, but then no funder has come up to say, oh, I'm going to put my money into this business. And he says one of the ways the private investors will make their money is by the tolling. And with our own calculation, at 1,000 naira per toll gate fare, it will take over 100 years.
Your own calculation is based on how many cars?
How many cars.
So what was your calculation of cars per
so
hour?
We are saying, even in a month, let's say we have 5,000 cars.
That's pretty small in a month. Considering
the country, and considering, like I said, there are two existing roads to that community, to linking these two states already. So which means not all the cars will pass that major highway.
And it's possible that these two existing roads, because Governor Ayade is building a Trunk B road, which probably is a state road. And the other two existing roads are Trunk A roads, which are federal government roads. So he wants to build a Trunk B road that will be a state road that will link the states.
Like I said, if one of the ways to cash back or get money from this investment is to toll the road, which means it will still take a longer time before they will get the return. And don't forget, Cross River is in debt. And if no fund has come up to fund this project, it simply means it needs to also borrow to embark on this project.
What is wrong with a state being in debt if the debt is used for development?
Now, we know that most of these roads, if you decide to borrow, I'm saying if you're borrowing for capital development project, it is good. But at the same time, will the governor be able to finish this project within the time frame that he has? That's another question.
His tenure.
If he does not finish the project within the tenure that he has, it simply means the next governor that comes into power would have to carry on with paying the debts that has been incurred by previous state governors, and the system or the cycle continues that way.
One last question to Tope. Donald Duke was the governor of Cross River State. He started something, he pioneered something, which was the Calabar Carnival. And not many people believed in Calabar Carnival at that time when it started. And I'm sure many people would have also said it was a waste of money. But today, Calabar Carnival is one of the most sought after carnivals all over the world, even especially in Africa. So, is there anything wrong in a pioneering effort that may seem wasteful now?
The Calabar Carnival, the example you cited, it's a good illustration. But at the same time, check out the number of investors or partners that will be interested in such a jamboree, which is a carnival. Check out the number of workforce that's going to, in terms of the tailoring, the costume, even the food vendors. So which means indirectly you're creating a job for the indigenes of that particular state with all these that I've just mentioned. Look at the road, for example. Now the road is done. Has it compensated those that have been affected with the demolition? If you decide to toll it at 1,000 naira, that's why I said at 1,000, which is not fair on the indigenes. So even in Lagos, you could tow a car for maybe, let's say, 300 max. But if you do it at 1,000, it will still take 100 years for you to get what you've invested. So, going into a project like this and saying it's a Wi-Fi, we've not even seen a telecom company that is interested to partner with the government. We've not seen funders for this. So which means it's going to be captured. Remember, in 2017, this road was captured through the NEDC, that the government will fix the existing roads that we have. So if the government is willing to fix the existing roads.
Which government now, the state or the federal?
No, the federal is willing to fix through the NDDC project. So why embark on a new road that is to serve the same purpose for the indigenes of Cross River and Benue?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure Budgit has made its point. Thank you for talking to us. Well, like I said, they have made their points. But what is your own point? What do you think about this whole situation? You may want to send us your feedback. It's globalbusinessonait@gmail.com. globalbusinessonait@gmail.com. You may also want to send us a Twitter message at @ImeOhio is my Twitter handle, and you'll see it on your screen. Of course, you can watch this episode of Global Business on YouTube, channel on YouTube, Global Business on AIT. We have looked at the Calabar Superhighway today, and of course, we have heard the two sides, or we will say all sides of the story. It's always nice doing business with you. I am Imeru Have a beautiful day.